All right. I'm not even going to go to AI for for our summary. We're going to dive right into it and just riff a little bit about like what did we learn? What did we get out of this season with AI? Probably some like, pros and cons and things like that, and be a little more um, probably conversational and things like that. But I think it'll be something that'll be hopefully it'll be a good have us give us an excuse to sort of think back about like what we've gotten out of AI and maybe even talk a little bit about AI in general. So that's my thoughts.
I like
See
it.
what's yours.
We really only use ChatGPT and Copilot, right? We didn't really touch on, or was it?
No, we used Gemini.
Okay.
We used that like a couple of times, mostly just to try it out. We did bounce between ChatGPT 5 and 4. I don't know how often I actually specified which was which because I wasn't even sure sometimes because it was using like best uh, whatever's the most effective engine at the time. I just keep it sort of left. I keep it open and just do that kind of stuff. So um,
Yeah, I've had to play around with five lately because I've been getting some weird answers on the general one. I've gone to like the thinking one, and it will actually give me a better answer. Like it takes more time, but I I'm not liking five. And I tried to go back to 4.0, and 4.0 is now you can use it, it's limited, so you can only use 4.0 a little bit unless you pay for the professional version. And I'm like, oh, that's crap, because there's
yeah, I went to
five
the
of them.
Pro because I was just using it so much, and I use the thinking version a lot because I'm usually doing it to say like a lot of. I've been doing a lot of it to like migrate code and also to do like design things and stuff like that, where I'll be like, especially like that, like I said, the RB site, I got a lot of stuff out of that where I'd be like, take this, add these things to it, move this around, do that thing. It's all the stuff that like it's a little slow, but, it takes a couple, minute to think about it or whatever, but it's so much faster than me like going through and like, okay, can I tweak this? Gotta tweak this, gotta move that, gotta move that. It's like all those little things. It gets me there faster. And so I'm like,
Yeah,
and it's stuff that I'm like, I have no desire to learn how to like totally figure out this, how to do this in Bootstrap or how to do that in Tailwind. And so it's been really cool. It's allowed me to do updates to interfaces really fast. It's allowed me to even do some coding, some like Swagger stuff and things like that. It's like, here, this API, go in and just like give me a better set of comments and stuff like that. Now I've got more to work with. I can go in, tweak it, boom, done. So
yeah,
speed
that's
wise,
a lot of what I use it for. I know you get on me sometimes because you're like, oh, that's very AI-ish, but sometimes when you're just dealing with boilerplate stuff, or you just need a quick, hey, just give me a quick strut or foundation for the project. I'd rather do that and spend my time working on the actual code. And yeah, I'll come back and tweak it later. But if it works, it works. It's that 80/20 thing. It's like, is it working? Yeah. Okay, move on.
it is. It's just sometimes the code it generates is, oh my gosh, so like
And I do try to
loaded.
catch that, but sometimes I get it. But sometimes it's speed. It's like when you're, it depends where you are in the project. If you're at the point where results matter more than quality, you kind of, it's one of those trade-offs. It's a balance you got to juggle, but um, just teeny nitpick, and then we can jump in. Um, check your um, what is it above the fold? Your image scroller on RB. One of your images is jacking up your whole page. Like when it scrolls, it the page is messed up till it scrolls again.
On the
Um,
RB side,
yeah,
there aren't any. I don't think there's
it may
any.
be on the blog because when I did like the RB, it took me to the blog page. Whatever page you have that has like images that scroll, the page got jacked up from it and then it fixed itself. But it was weird.
That's interesting because there shouldn't be anything left.
It might have been something cached, but I went to rbsns.com, RB blog. It does a little shake, and then it did like a shift to a new image, and then the whole top of the page was jacked for a second until it switched back, and then it was fine. So
Huh.
you might have something cached in
Yeah,
Cloud.
if you have something cached, there's not much I can do about
No,
that.
no, I mean, but if you're using Cloudflare, you may need to go out there and flush the cache and have it recache your page because it was weird. Like I said, it was very strange. Once it fixed itself, it was fine, but it the first time I hit the page, it was very weird. It was like, hey, it looks nice, and all of a sudden, whoop, you got this big image of your icon of your logo,
Well,
and then went back to the regular image.
yeah, I think what it is that yeah, some because it's a little bit behind the inside baseball. On this is like basically what I do is I've got like it was originally has been forever a WordPress site. And I had a nice little theme. And I like once I started really messing with the theme, I'm like, no, I'm gonna override the theme. I'm just gonna break out of the theme. So now I've done what I can to pull RB back to be so that everything runs through now. It's essentially my custom pages, my custom theme, my piece, and then all I do is I'm trying to use WordPress as just a headless post producer and stuff like that. I'm half tempted to even yank some of that stuff out, but there are still ways you can get back once you're back into like the actual WordPress engine. Then there's some older stuff that it's just like I'm not going to try to like I'm trying to figure out how to block all of that so that it never goes there, so everything comes back and it's using even whatever imagery or whatever post you're seeing and stuff like that. So that's probably what it is you can get you like I was poking around and I was able to get back to the old homepage
Yeah,
and it's not awesome. It doesn't have rotating images anywhere, so I'm not sure what it did, but and I think that's the one I recently had because it's not on Cloudflare, I don't think. Developer is, but RB I yanked it off that years ago
oh,
because it
okay.
was causing me all kinds of issues. But good to know. I'll see if I can find that 'cause that's
Also
still on
check
my
your plugin.
to-do list.
If you have any caching plugins, see if you can clear the cache on them and have it recache. Because that I had that issue with Doctor Who. I had like the WP cache, which
Mhm.
worked great because I didn't update the site too often. But when they did, I had to go clear that because it's like, well, oh, I don't see your code changes. So anyway, I was not trying to nitpick. It was very strange how it happened, and I'm like, I'll just point it out because you were mentioning you were working on it. I just didn't know if you'd seen it.
Yeah, I need to go, but that's still something that's like now pretty low on my priority is to go back and try to figure out anywhere that it goes to a WordPress article or page is to make sure that it's got all of my wrapped stuff so that's the new look and feel. I just haven't like chased all that crap down because then it's starting. Part of me is like I almost want to just rip out the existing theme completely and then build a custom theme that does all this. It's just I haven't gotten there yet. I That's actually what I'm going to do. I think with Developer is I think I'm just going to create a custom theme and just use that and build it from there, as opposed to what done with RB, where I was trying to sort of keep it up while I was going because there's like I've made as you probably noticed, like if you go to the main RB SNS page, it's dramatically different than it was. And a lot of the stuff, the links, the information that's in there, all that kind of good stuff. I've been going through and putzing with that. Yeah, so cool stuff. Good to know. And that leaves us with, I think it's time for us to dive right in for this potentially last episode. We'll do a little three, two, oops, let me get this up so I'm looking at what I want to look at. Let me do this. Let me move this over here. Oops, I don't want you there. Let me try this. If I do this and move you here. Dad, come it. It doesn't work the same when I've got multiples of those. Let me take this and move this over here. Uh, there we go. Okay, that works. I tell you, when you've got like multiple virtual screens, it gets really confused really fast. So, all right, three, two, hello and welcome back. We are continuing and potentially wrapping up yet another season with developing or building better developers. I am Rob Broadhead, one of the founders of the pre-mentioned Developreneur and Building Better Developers. Also, the founder of RB Consulting, where we are boutique consulting. We are a fractional CIO. Bottom line, we help businesses assess and simplify their technology. We figure out a way to walk through with you what you've got and how to leverage it so that there is a roadmap for success, for moving forward, for growth for your company. Bottom line, it really comes back down to we assess where we're at, help you build a roadmap. Let's get you to a better, brighter future, essentially. We do that through simplification, integration, automation, innovation. There's a lot of different ways that we can utilize technology, that you can utilize technology, but also that we can utilize it, help you do it better. That's what we're here for. We help you craft a specific recipe for you, custom to your business. We sit down and we connect your business goals and where you're at with where you want to be and how to get you there in the best and brightest future that you have ahead of you. Good things and bad things. Oh, actually, I guess I would be amiss if I didn't mention rb-sns.com. You can check out our website, which has been, we were just talking in the pre-show about like it has been evolving. We've been working on it. We've been doing a lot of cool stuff. We like it. Give us feedback. We'd love to hear how you like it. Rob at rb-sns.com. Also, check out our tool, matrix.rb-sns.com. It's really a cool way for you to get quickly to a roadmap of sorts. It's not quite as custom, but it's one of those that definitely, based on where you're at, can help you figure out what your next steps are. And it's free. You just go in there, sign up, answer a few questions. I think it takes about 10 minutes, something like that, depending on where you're at. It's a little bit technical, but it will help your business get to the brighter future, or at least give you the steps to do so. Back into good thing, bad thing. Good thing is we are wrapping up yet another season. This is like, it really, I can't tell you how much it is just heartwarming, how much it is like, the endorphins and all that cool stuff. Getting through another season when you started way, way back episode one and you weren't sure you were going to get through any episodes. You weren't sure how far you were going to go. You weren't how far this was going to last. And the fact that we are just like marching into now what I think 26 is going to be our next season. That's a lot of seasons. It's way beyond what a lot of people do. Sometimes you have to mute your mic when you have a sneeze or two. Apologies for that. The bad thing is that we are through another season. It is always a little bit of a challenge too to figure out like what are we going to do next. It's sort of funny that this has been a challenge that we have now faced multiple times. Like where do we go next? What do we do? What's our next topic? One of the things we may discuss is actually going out to AI and saying, "Hey, where's an area that we haven't covered?" We've done that. We actually got some pretty cool little information back. If you check out the YouTube channel, you'll be able to check out part of that bonus material. But first, I think I need my co-host to introduce himself. Go for it.
Hey everyone, my name is Michael Meloche. I'm one of the co-founders of Developreneur, Building Better Developers. I'm also the owner of Envision QA, where we help businesses take back control with their customer with custom software that builds around the needs, not the other way around. So our focus is simple: great service, great solutions, and a rock solid quality. We build tools that replace frustrating systems, streamline operations, and are fully tested to work right the first time. At Envision QA, we combine development and quality assurance to give you software that you can trust and support you can count on. Check us out at envisionqa.com. Good thing, bad thing. So good thing, I guess it's mixed, good and bad. So I'm another year older, another year closer to the 50 mark. Not quite there yet, almost. And I'm having to reflect on a lot of things and update all my freaking policies and things like that. So, as you get older, you have to worry about things like mortgages, health insurance, life insurance. And well, I just got pinged by my mortgage broker. It's like, oh, interest rates are going down again. Do you want to refinance? And it's like, do I? How long do I have to retirement? These are questions I don't want to ask yet. But anyway, so that's kind of the good and bad. Another year older, had a wonderful birthday, but more crap to go with it. Mute.
Here's to 1 year older and not realizing when you've actually turned your little mic off. Apologies to that. Yeah, I wish I was getting closer to 50, but I'm getting closer to 150. So that's just sort of how these things go. But more importantly, we're wrapping up this season. We have spent another 30 plus episodes talking about building better developers. This time we did it with AI. And what we want to do in this wrap up, instead of, and we can, I mean, this is, we'll see where Michael wants to go, but I want to spend a little more time like in a meta retrospective, a little bit of like, look at this is what we did when we came into this was said, hey, AI is a big thing right now. Everybody's talking AI, 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 AI. People that can't spell AI are talking about AI. I had a conversation today, and it's like with a guy that they're in this area where they really need AI, and they've like all these people are experts because they've done like three things. There are very few people that have spent more than, I don't know, 3 to 6 months probably playing around with AI. Most of them wrote a chat bot. And it's really about like, okay, great. Everybody can spell it, we'll say, and thinks they're an expert. But let's really talk about like how do we use it? How do we utilize it? And during this season, and a little bit before, but definitely during this season, it really has been a journey on what does AI provide us, where can it help us, and where do we need to still like make some progress. And I would just like in this, I don't know, this summary, this little retrospective, just look back. It's like it really has been. It's been nice as being like a third host, another co-host in it. That it's really brought, although it has definitely touched on things that we touched on, which is probably for the same kind of reasons. Because when you have a certain topic in a well-known field like this, there's it's a target rich environment. There are a lot of things that you can talk about where you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense, and that makes sense, and that makes sense, and this is probably something you should mission. It's like when we started way back, there's things like when we talk about the software development lifecycle. There's certain things you're always going to talk about with the software development lifecycle. You talk about agile. There's certain things you're going to talk about. If you talk about Scrum, certain things you're going to talk about. Software development in general, there's like certain areas, like you're going to talk about code, you're going to talk about databases, you're going to talk about quality assurance, you're going to all of these things. And AI is really good about that. But what we've seen is that it's really good about touching on additional areas. It really is. It's another set of eyes, another set of ears to say, well, hey, have you thought about that? And I think that has been a big boon going through this season is that there have been some areas where we didn't really connect it, and sometimes where it misunderstood, we'll say, where it took it a little bit different direction. But I think we got some great conversations out of that. So I'll pause there and get your like initial thoughts.
Yeah, so I think I don't remember which one was initially kicked off the idea of, hey, let's like revisit a past season with AI. But it became an interesting journey. Initially, we're like, oh well, let's just see what it can do, and we'll just go with it. And as we went with it, it really did a decent job of analyzing what we talked about. In some cases, it was completely different, but in a good way, where it's like, oh, we didn't even think about that. And it gave us more ideas to kind of expand upon past episodes. One of the best things I can, I guess, compare it to is it's like throwing ideas at a whiteboard, seeing what will stick. And AI was great for that based on the way we used it. Now, would it be great to actually flesh out the content for the full episodes? I don't think so. I think we'd get into that kind of false, fake, or not fake, but just where it would just kind of give us an answer, but not really be an answer for a lot of these solutions. So for something a little higher level, uh, like summaries and outlines and things like that, I think it did a great job this season.
I think so too. I think that's a really good point. Is that it gives us yes, we can get some very good details if we want to out of AI, but for something like this, it's much better at a high level, at a summary kind of level. It was sort of like, hey, here's an outline or something like that, and let us take it from there. There were more than a couple of times that I think it came back with some stuff where it was just like, huh, that's an interesting way to go. We don't want to go there. Like it would take it didn't have the right context of the term or the topic or things like that. So it did it could get lost, but honestly, so can we. There are times that we would put together a topic and we would go in very different directions because we were thinking different things. So I don't think that's I don't know that's necessarily a knock against AI, but I think it is a caution against AI.
No, agreed. I mean, it gives you a good. It's good at giving you content, but it's not necessarily good at giving you the meat of what it is that you're trying to convey.
Yeah, I think this goes back to like some of the other things I've done with AI that are outside of the developer realm, which actually we'll see some of this as we like part of the things I'm going to be doing when I'm revamping the website is basically a lot of it is like take this stuff, take this bucket of stuff and reorganize it. It's like it's sometimes it's not much different than like just shuffle this around, but sometimes the shuffling makes a big difference. It's just like A/B testing, where you're like, well, what if I put the button at the top versus the bottom versus the left or the right or things like that. That's some of what it is. It's basically like say, okay, let's take this and let's take, honestly, in some cases, like best practices or standards or things like that, and let's like apply that to this thing so that we can get something done that maintains the meat of it, but also dresses it up a little bit. And it is sort of gosh, it's really at the end of the day, the things that work best are the ones that are process oriented, are the things that are like there's always a series of steps that you want to get through. I will share, which is there's a lot more to go into it, but I will share that like one of the things we've done that I've found has been really good is using it as a um, an advisor of sorts. Like we wanted to plan trips and would throw questions at it and it would be able to go like gather a lot of information and say, well, particularly in cases where you're trying to figure out like you're going into new areas of research. It is a great way to very quickly figure out that like this is a good path or this isn't a good path. I've used it a lot since we've started into this, I think, since this season of things like saying like, if I want to build an app from scratch, in this realm, and this is sort of the target audience, and this is what I want it to look like, what are the best technologies for it? And it will give me stuff like, well, here's an example, here's the popular technology, or here's the technology that's going to take more time to learn, but it's actually going to be a better long term. Those things are, it can get you there, but it really does come down to it's people talk about like I had a chat with Chat GPT. It really is, I think, where you need to go is it has to be about a chat. It has to be about you learning how to use AI as much as AI giving you that information.
Yeah, I mean, for those of us that have been around for a while, it goes back to like the old dictation software, Dragon, Naturally Speak. You have to spend time teaching the tool that you're using how to interact with you. You're not just learning the tool, but the tool is learning how to interact with you, how to understand your sentence structure, your grammar, your reflections. A lot of times, it's interesting because when I first started with ChatGPT, I'm a bad speller. It would more or less at early on just correct my spelling and say, "Did you mean this?" Now it takes almost anything I throw at it and it returns some type of message. Now it may not be the correct response, but it is a response based on the history of the interactions with the tool. So if I were to log in anonymously through ChatGPT, so this is a good test. For those of you that have a ChatGPT account, if you use ChatGPT all the time, log out, clear your browser cache, or go incognito, log into ChatGPT, or don't log into ChatGPT, but just go to ChatGPT and start using it. You're going to get different responses and different interactions. You're going to find that either it's going to send you down a different path or it's not going to give you that kind of personal experience that you're used to from being logged in. So these are just some of the things to be cautious of as you continue to learn and grow with the tools. It takes time and you need to question it. Even if you're just starting out, heck, I would ask it almost once I started like building projects like Rob was just talking about, like with code. I started out with, okay, I want to build a web page. So give me a web page. I'm like, is this the best way to build a web page? yeah, okay, well, all right, maybe we'll do this. I'm like, all right. And then it would prompt me, well, who's the web page for? So if you are asking the right prompts, it will prompt you back if it's not getting what it needs. Now with 5.0, I'm not sure if it still does that. I would have to go back and retest that, but I would probably have to retest it incognito because I've already gone through that learning process with ChatGPT. So as you're learning the tool's learning you, and it just takes time. Be patient with it, but definitely spend time with it and work through it. If you question it, Google it and call it out if it's wrong.
And I think that's really, I think the context is so critical. And it goes back to, it reminds me of Google Food, Billy, people's ability to write searches in Google to like get useful information back. And AI is so much like that, as it really is. And I was thinking about this today as I was having a chat with ChatGPT and I was actually getting it to do some work for me. And I was like, I really am gonna, I like, it was one of these that I asked it to do something and then I had to ask it for something else. And I wanted to go back to not the prior, but two prior. And I was like, if I don't ask this right, it's going to go to one prior and not two prior. And sure enough, it did. And it's really is, it's like, I hesitate, like sometimes I like joke that it's like talking with a child that like has a very short attention span that you have to like make sure you're very clear on what you provide. I do think, as Michael's mentioned, like the folders and stuff like that, there are some things that it does allow it now to do a better job of keeping context, but so often it still will like wander off. And so it's things where I have to, and it's where it actually does become worth it to have like the paid version so you can have a bigger question where you can say, okay, based on this, I want you to do this and make it look like that. And it's like sometimes that's a decent amount of stuff that you need to work with. The cool thing in building a better developer, and then I'm going to let you jump into this, is it the best way to get that kind of information is to be dealing with small chunks. And this goes back to something we have often said is like, try to break your problem that you're solving down into small chunks that are very easy then to work with and maintain. And this will also help you immensely when you get into AI. You had a thought, so I want you to jump back to
I
that.
did. So you made a comment that when working with Chat GPT, if you're like two or three uh, chats down and you need to go back and it doesn't go back to the right one, a small tip I found with this is if you go copy the selection you want to go back to, repaste it, but start out with reset the conversation to this chat, paste your chat in. Sometimes it will reset everything to where you need to be, and then you can continue your thread from there. I found that to be more successful than just assuming it knows where to go back to.
And that's actually, I had a conversation with a guy not too long ago that's a AI maven or whatever, but that was one of the things that we talked about in our conversation is how it has a very limited memory. And so it's very easy, five or six requests, we'll say, into it to suddenly lose stuff. And it just like it's sort of reset. And he said that was something that he was struggling with as he was building out longer term conversations, and that is to be able to do it. And I think that's honestly, and this is like a little pro tip or whatever, because this is something I've been working with. I think there's a point where what you need to do is if you're building like chat bots and stuff like that for longer term conversations is to have ways to actually freeze and update the context is very much this is very much a Python thing, but very much when in Python where you if you use pip, if you use their library, and there's other things that are like this, but there's a way to like say freeze, like use what I have right now, give me a script so that in the future I can go back and then just, and this is called requirements basically, but I can use those requirements and I can suck all those in and say, I want exactly this environment. I want these libraries, these versions. That is literally the kind of stuff that we need with AI. And if you're building something that is an evolving AI, I think you need to do that, but because AI has a crap memory. It's worse than mine. And so what you need to do is you need to be able to do something where if you really are building, it isn't like the chat tools. If you're building a chat tool, you're going to need to be able to do a feedback loop into that to say, okay, Now we have knowledge that we want to like maintain, and we want to push that back into the AI so that now the AI is keeping that as part of its like, this is what I know. It's just like if you go to like Notebook LM, where it's like load these documents in. It's like, well, I need to have those documents there. Those are the things. It's like marking knowledge that is key knowledge. And honestly, it's funny because Michael and I have had conversations in business stuff outside of Developer in recent days, weeks, months, where there are things like that that I realize I recognize now that is very much a part of the human conversation as well. You'll be like, hey, this is a watershed moment or a milestone or something, a marker that we want to say we have agreed on this. This is what requirements documents are all about, really. We've agreed on this. And so this is what we're going to use as our foundation moving forward. It's literally no different when you're dealing with AI, other than AI is a little more obnoxious than I know a lot of obnoxious people. I'm never going to say it's more obnoxious than people, but I think that's what we didn't embrace in this season is that we didn't feed back into it every time we asked it about a season about a topic for and give us a couple of things to talk about. We didn't actually give it feedback on it. So that is, I think, why we found over and over again we got roughly the same response. It got, I mean, we asked a question a little bit differently, but generally speaking, we got the same response because we were asking the same thing over and over.
Yeah. So one of the things as you went through that that kept coming to my mind is there are some tips and tricks you can do with AI. And this may be more application, desktop application version of AI versus web. But I have found as I go through the process of working with AI and resetting AI, if it gives me a response, there is that little checkbox that you can check under the message, hey, this is right. But what I have found to be more useful is if it gives me, hey, this is like exactly what I want, I respond, save this in the memory. This is a good response. And for those that are not, I say, okay, this was a poor response. Reject this, but do not follow this path. And if I do that, I get better results in the long run. But if I don't do that and I just let it keep regurgitating stuff, you take kind of that long way to get there. Like it takes longer to get to the solution than where you literally tell it, hey, bad, 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 go back. Here's a cookie. That's right. Here's a cookie. That's good. But
I have to interrupt because this is you and I have this conversation. I'm like, okay, time out, stop right there. Let's I don't say snapshot, but it's basically let's snapshot that. Can we agree? And we can move on. I know I've done that with you. I've done that with a lot of people. I will say, because she probably won't hear this, my wife gets really annoyed when I do that sometimes because I will cut her off in the middle of a sentence and be like, stop right there. That's a point. Let's move on from there. But that is a I'm going to let you go because that is really a very important insight into how you find ways to move AI forward instead of get into those like loops or let it spin off into space.
exactly. And worst case scenario, if you find yourself 5 or 6 messages into a thread, even after trying to get it corrected, stop. Create a new chat, delete, do not archive, delete the old chat. Say, before you delete it, say, this was a bad message thread, delete it from memory, then delete it, start a new thread. 9 out of 10 times, I find that the new thread starts in a different path, usually closer to what I want, and it gets me there quicker. These are not things that happen overnight. A lot of times I can now jump on the chat GPT, probably within about 5-10 minutes, I get enough of what I need from it to go do what I'm trying to do, or I get enough of a correction to like a document, an email or something that I can just jump in and go take it from there and move on. I use ChatGPT now more days as a good virtual assistant and a quick boilerplate like code generator. Like, here, just throw this out here and I can go from there. Sometimes it works well for more complex things, but I'm still struggling with most of the chat bots to get something that will build me an enterprise solution. And I only want to touch on this one other thing because I read an article on this just recently. It seems like more C-level Fortune 500 companies are actually now starting to shift away from AI a little bit because they're finding that it's costing more to get to that chatbot level of maybe this is right to something that is actually going to help the customer.
And that's honestly that's the wave we've seen in technology from forever. Is it's like everybody like, oh, this is now finally the silver bullet. This is the thing that's going to solve all our problems. And then everybody throws a lot of money at it. And the next thing we know, it's like, oh no, it's not solving our problems. I'm just going to say, if it's just throwing a lot of money at it, you're not paying attention. Throwing a lot of money is not it. You've got to be, there has to be wisdom in that. You can throw good money after bad all day long. AI is no different from all of the other silver bullets that we've seen, all the way back to like when I was started out, it was things like UIs and object oriented and things like that. Actually, I did a class. I was just talking again, guy today. I had a class 35 years ago on AI. It was basically expert systems and artificial intelligence and how to do that. Things have evolved massively since then. But the interesting thing is, which is actually a really cool little observation, this guy came out of the gaming environment, the gaming world, and he had dealt with a lot of stuff there. There is a lot of AI built into games. The gaming world of stuff, like think about it, like if you're sitting there and you're fighting, now granted, the MMO RPGs and stuff, all the massive online stuff, it's just other people. But when you're dealing with stuff and there is a intelligence in the application that is your opponent, a lot of times we've seen it, like you pick all of your games like the Dark Souls series of stuff, there's patterns that they do. The things that they struggle with usually is patterns with some sort of randomness to it or things like that. But that's honestly what we know. If you really look at it, if you look at a fighter, if you look at a football team, if you look at I'm trying like a fencer or things like that, there are certain moves, the Tai Chi, the Ultimate Fighter and stuff like that. Wrestlers, there's moves that they use. There's certain things that they do. If you look at dancers, you can look at across the line of what humans do. There are patterns of what we do. The things that are different for those that are the best is that we add randomness to it. Is that we try not to be predictable enough so that our opponent doesn't know which path or which sequence we're taking at any given moment. That's not that much different from what AI provides. What we're trying to do, of course, is we want AI to be consistent. However, the bonus is that like AI is not consistent, partially because it doesn't have the same set of information each time we ask that question. Now, sometimes we'll ask the same question and it's close enough, but it's still going to be like uh, I think there's percentages and stuff like that behind the scenes, not getting too deep into the AI. And I'm trying to simplify it for like not getting into the deepness of what this is. But honestly, at the bottom line, it does work down to like you're rolling the dice. You're asking a question, you're rolling dice and says, what things am I going to like most use to color my opinion on this? And we've seen that. We've seen this in this season where we've asked effectively the same question. We've gotten slightly different results, slightly different approach. And it's based on time of day or whatever else is going on. So I think that's very key for us to take. I think that's a very key takeaway is AI is literally like another person. Is like throwing out there. I think if you look at it that way, but like saying, "Hey," and Michael mentioned using it as a virtual assistant. I really think before I like, God, this is such a rabbit trail I could go down. I really see AI as replacing the VA. I see so many things that I do right now that I'm like, I can throw that to AI. AI will do that. And I could honestly, this is your automation stuff. Is like I could build a bot that does that stuff for me. And I talk to people that are like, yeah, the people that are technical, that are trying to leverage AI, that are not just throwing random stuff at it, say, yeah, I can spend a little bit of time and I can build some sort of an AI solution that gives me this report, this dashboard, this look, this overview, this summary, this outline. Things that are like, all they do is just get us to the solution a little bit faster. And I'm going to throw something to you before I like get to the end of this of this episode faster.
Yeah. So the last thing I want to touch on. So as you were talking, spoilers for those that have not seen Superman, the new Superman, the scene with Lex Luthor where he's literally throwing out numbers. He's basically controlling the Ultraman character in the movie through the fight. So it's a real time person interacting with another person for a battle. A lot of the best AI tools that are out there are still the best procedurally written applications. Basically, if then do this, if then do this. It's building upon a procedural logic. It is not AI. It is a rules based engine that is driving where your application is going and the interaction with your customers. I have seen more often than not, especially with testing tools. And since Rob's been publishing all his applications, I am probably going to get mine out there again soon. I wrote a testing application 10 years ago, a testing framework. It needs to be updated a little bit. But speaking of legacy, I spun it up the other day, ran it against a website, and it worked. So the short answer is procedurally driven applications is essentially the current form of AI. You have to ask certain questions in a certain way, and AI is essentially building you a procedural response to those answers to give you a solution based on your input. Everything I see for SAP and all these marketing tools and business tracking tools, they are literally just freaking integration systems that are basically procedurally driven based on rules, not necessarily AI, where based on customer rules, we're going to give you this generated code or this generated report. Yes, it's AI ish, but it's still procedural. It is not really thinking outside the box. It's thinking within this rule engine to generate these responses, these reports, these applications. So be very careful relying on AI as the be all end all answer to your problems.
And that's, I guess that's the bottom line. It's just like it's an advisor like anything else. It is not going to always be correct. It is wrong at times. It makes mistakes and things like that. Just get used to that. But that doesn't mean that it's not helpful. It's just like everything else. It's like everybody else you talk to, there's going to be value in what they say, and there's going to be some stuff that is not very valuable in what they say. There's a lot of value in shooting us an email at info@developaneur.com because we will use that. We will like build that into this thing. You will find the opportunity to say something to us and actually impact season topics, episodes, stuff that we do. If we do blog episodes, I mean, maybe even training and stuff like that we do. There's a lot that you can do. If you look back, we've done a lot over the years. If you go back, especially to like some of our mentor classes and some of the things, those are all out on the YouTube youtube.com developer channel. Um, you'll find a lot of stuff where there were discussions that we had that ended up becoming entire products and things like that. So feedback is awesome. You can leave us feedback wherever you listen to podcasts. You can check us out on YouTube. You can check us out at X. We are at Developreneur. Facebook, there's a Developreneur page, Facebook page. You can leave us comments anywhere on the developaneur.com site, which is going to be in the months ahead, updating and enhancing, and we're going to do some cool new stuff. I assume cool. We'll see how cool it is when I get to that, but I will just say I was very happy with some of the things we changes we made on the RB consulting site. I very much expect to bring some of that stuff forward and do even more on the developer site, plus some other side projects I've got going that will sort of feed into be like a little feedback loop for these kinds of things. So we're not done. We're not just giving you content. We're going to find better ways to bring you content and bring you the stuff that you need. But it also helps to give us feedback so that we can, know what we've done correctly and where we need to do it better. That being said, I just want to say once again, as we are probably wrapping up this season, I'm guessing that our next episode we will just dive right into whatever our new season is, which in recent seasons is sort of what we do is we're like, I don't know, we'll figure it out when we get there. And it's turned out pretty cool so far. We've gotten a lot of stuff. We've learned a lot. Hopefully shared a lot that has been valuable to you. Appreciate you so much and the time that you've given us. As always, go out there and have yourself a great day, a great week. And we will come back to you next time with season 26. Oh my gosh, this is just insane. Have a good one, folks. Talk to you later. Oops, I didn't want to do that. Bonus material.
Well, do we need bonus for this one? Because this was the end.
I
No,
don't know that we
no.
do. I think we talked a little bit beforehand, so I think we're in pretty good shape. So we can sort of wrap this one up. We can go on to our lives. We will come back. You and I can discuss, or maybe we'll discuss at the start of the next episode what that season is going to be. I've got this stuff off in a folder so we can take a look at it. So
Enabled screen reader.
wow, somebody hit a screen reader somewhere. Was that me?
No, I hit it. I really do not like this new OS.
I
I hit a button, all of a sudden things started popping up, and be
hate it
warned,
when that happens.
take the update. This liquid glass thing is weird. It's gonna take some getting used to.
Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm like this is why I put do not disturb. Stuff starts popping up, bopping up on my screen. So it's like, dadgummit. I hate when that happens.
Well, that's what happened. Mine just ended, so things started popping up.
That's exactly what I'm getting. I'm getting like all this stuff. It's like, I don't need all of that. All right. That being said, thank you all you guys for yet another season. I cannot appreciate it's like share enough of my appreciation. Literally, if you guys ever need any help, if there's anything that we can do, if there's any way we can help you, check us out. Shoot me an email, info@developernoir.com. Shoot me an email, rob@rb-sns.com. Go out to the matrix.rb-sns.com. Feel free to check that out. It is free. All it is an email. We'll just send you emails to say, hey, how you doing? You can always just say, I don't want to be a part of this mailing list. You can jump back out. It's literally free, and hopefully it's helpful to you. I would love feedback on all of that. Love feedback on anything we have done because we are going into a season. We're getting towards the end of the year right now, going to the fourth quarter. By now, you probably know that fourth quarter is when I really start like evaluating the year behind and looking at what I want to do in the year ahead. That is one of the things that we do. It's one of the things that I do personally. I would love feedback of any sort, suggestions, recommendations, all that kind of stuff, because this is going to help us really do more for you in the year ahead. We appreciate you much. We want to do the most that we can for you. Thank you. I'm going to let you have the rest of your time off. Go have yourself a good one, and we will see you next season.